I was sitting at my desk, bored as ever, thinking of something to do. Looking around my room, I noticed there's a few unfinished tanks, and I wanted to do something with them instead of keeping them as a big eyesore. After a couple hours of doom scrolling on TikTok, I finally came up with some ideas. I was dead set on getting a water feature, something that had either rain or a mist or a waterfall, something along those lines. Unfortunately for me though, it was 2 o'clock in the morning and pet stores usually aren't open at that time. So I did what any sane person would do if they wanted something. Go online. I was mostly looking for like wood and stuff you wouldn't be able to find very easily inside of an actual store. I instantly bought everything I wanted, and then I waited until the morning to get the rest at an actual pet store. I get there the next day, and the place is awesome. It has such a variety, and there was really cute pufferfish, and I loved everything about it. I bought some dragonstone and some slate, and then unfortunately I didn't really feel any of the plants, so I bought like $200 of stuff on Etsy later that day. I chose the middle tank because it doesn't have a door on it and it doesn't have those little black bars on the bottom, so I don't have to worry about water seeping out through those little holes. I gave an attempt to try to take apart the plants slowly and cleanly, but they were so rotted and old that it was just easier to just toss them in the trash can afterwards. Also, I cleaned this thing for like 20 minutes off camera. I just showed a little bit of a clip. Oh, somebody in here? Oh, sorry. Look at that, all pretty. Still wet, but... Now that the tank is empty, I can account for the water pump. I'm going to put these foam boards in the back of the tank so that the water pump can be in the bottom, but I can also take the pump out when I need to service it. So I'm going to cut 3 strips right here, here, and here. I only needed 2 strips originally, and I was just going to put the 2 in a corner and call it a day, but I made 3 just in case I messed it up. And I did actually mess it up, so it's a good thing I made 3. Also, this glue that I was using, it had the word cancer on it like 5 different times, and I just chose to ignore that. Also, I chose to ignore that it was $3 for a pretty nice sized amount of glue. Another red flag is that it was in the clearance section, but, fuck it, we ball, right? Test fit, and it is perfect. Might be a little too perfect. And now for the main event. The probably nastiest event I've ever done, too. It was fucking disgusting. I hated it, but, it was kind of fun at the same time. Like, it was gross, but fun. I don't even know how to feel about it still, because it feels like I was just playing with a bunch of poop out of a toilet. What are you making?
Roommate.
Oh, and I didn't account for this plastic to be in the way, but it was a pretty quick fix with a pair of pliers. Who knew that putting poop on a piece of glass would be fun? Not me. I would love to smear poop all over the city from now on. Honestly, everywhere I go, I'm just going to start smearing it all over the place. What I plan to do is to be able to put a bunch of ferns and mosses and plants into the background because it's a clay and dirt substrate, so inherently ferns will grow very well in it, especially at this high humidity that it's going to be because there's going to be a watering system in it. Unfortunately, during the time of the recording and editing of this part, I did not have my Amazon packages yet, or my Etsy packages yet, so I didn't have my water pump, I didn't have my plants, I didn't have my woodscape, I didn't even have some rocks. I was just waiting for it all to come in. It just took forever and it was so boring. As you can see, now that the mud is covering the black foam as well as the 2 pieces of glass, it's all coming together pretty cohesively. I mean, you can obviously tell there's a kind of like a column there because of the cracks, but I'm gonna smooth that out later. I'm actually really proud of the way it turned out. It turned out so much better than I expected, honestly. I thought it was going to be absolute trash. I don't know what part was more fun, playing with a bunch of wet balls or smearing poop on a bunch of glass. Oh, and the wet balls that you're seeing on screen right now is actually going to be the drainage layer for the bottom. I chose these instead of simple rocks because these little balls actually help retain moisture and give the entire tank a higher humidity in total. One of my 4 orders of plants came in today, so I treated myself to a pizza and some Chinese food. I only plan on using like 3 to 4 different variants of plants. Everything else is going to go through a different build later on. Panda is just having a good time of her life with all these boxes. I got the water pump, and I got a second water pump just in case, and aqua soil. This is my plants right here. Oh shit, there's a lot. I love it. They're all so pretty. They're all green. There's that one as well. You can't really see it. I got a piece of plexiglass and I started cutting it to fit the roof, and I started drilling holes so that the rain would go through. Also, I sanded it off camera so that the holes would be flat and even surface so the water would have a better dispersion chance. So I caulked the line around here so it's not going to move anywhere. Water's going to fall through these little holes and it'll be all good. This is an overflow right here and it's going to go right on top. I finally got the pump in there. I had to like hit it with a knife until it got all the way down because it was like the perfect size, like a little too perfect to where I just had to force it in. But here it is. You know, it looks awesome. I love it. I'm so happy. And the pump works. I put water in it. I tested it. I ran it through a couple times so the brown would get out. Finally, the last part where we all skip to the end instead of watching a whole video for, the planting. It's recommended that I use aqua soil instead of regular soil because aqua soil is literally made for like tanks with water in it, like aquariums and stuff. Like it's designed for this purpose. I also just enjoy the aesthetic of the aqua soil. I think it just looks way better than the normal dirt. Planting this tank, I knew it would become a difficult process, but I didn't realize how much like anger this would give me. I had to replant plants like 4 to 5 different times. So even though I'm showing it like I'm doing it now, I had to take apart half of it and put it all back together until it matched what I wanted it to be. And even after I replanted some of these plants 3 to 4 different times, and some of them just kept falling out for no reason, even after, I was still not really happy with the way that it turned out. But maybe that's just like you're your own worst critic. But I honestly think I planted too many plants in here and it's a little overcrowded. So that's why I didn't fill in the foreground as much. I just filled in the background as much as possible. You probably can't see a lot of it, but there's little pieces of moss and rocks that I dispersed around the background as well to kind of give it more definition in the spots where it's lacking. I hope I did okay. I mean, you can kind of see them at the top, but that's about it. There's so many things wrong with this tank and like so many little flaws that just make up a whole big flaw, but I honestly really enjoyed it in the end. It's a very big learning experience because this is the first time I've ever attempted anything with waterfalls and rain and stuff like that. Also, a huge shout out to Lang DIY. This is what I got the video inspiration from. Just go check out his channel. He makes some pretty badass shit.